Hello, everyone, and welcome to this podcast from the Light Review. And I'm very lucky today to be talking to Katey Fitton of RCL. Hello, Katey. How are you?
Hello, I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm fine. I think we need to put this in a bit of context because things are happening all around us as we speak. Today, we're going to be talking about marketing during a pandemic. We're at the beginning of July. Strange noises are coming out of Westminster as if it's all gone away. But I feel that they're performing with the same kind of panache and insight as, I don't know, Cardigan showed at Balaclava, perhaps. So rather than thinking that we're at the end of something, I suspect horribly that whatever we've learned over the last 18 months might stand us in very good stead for the months to come. So, Katey, head of marketing and CX UX. Before we go any further, tell me about the initials.
So UX and CX, UX has always been well established in design, but has been developing more as digital applications like phone apps, websites and everything. That's getting more integrated into everyday life. CX is customer experience, where you're taking similar design principles and methodology and applying it within a business sense of how you treat your customers and their experience through the entire so for the lighting design community, it would be how we aid the specification process with us involved.
So the fact that for the last year and a half we've not really been able to do the face-to-face, this is a new technique, if we want to call it that, and a new landscape for us to be exploring. I think I'm talking to the right person. You can tell me what I've been doing wrong for the last 18 months. So in the old world, I would expect a phone call or an email or even a knock on the door and say, can you spare a few minutes? And I'll say, well, if you really need to come all the way down to the southwest of England to see me, you must be in a bad way. But come on down. And it was very hands-on, and it was, here's a light fitting and this is what this does, and let's talk about this. And ideally you'd meet somewhere and go and have a cup of coffee, and that'd be great. All the things that we've not been able to do. And I've had lots of conversations with lots of manufacturers about the stress of, believe it or not, still having to sell stuff, but not really having half of the tools available that you're used to having to be able to get there. So how have RCL responded to that issue? I know you've been doing some sexy stuff, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking to you. But for all those people out there who haven't got that far, explain to us what was going on in March 2020 with you guys, when you were sort of staring down the barrel that everybody else was looking at, saying, what the hell do we do now?
So I think what's important is to look at what we did before the pandemic. Like you said, it was all very much hands-on, especially within the lighting design community, because there's the appreciation for design within that and the community of how it's built. So with manufacturers demonstrating to lighting designers, interior designers, architects, it's a very tactile demonstration. It's very important, I find anyway, with our clients, that they feel the light in their hands, they can see it. There's always different problems when it comes to doing it with digital, when especially trying to demonstrate light online. Because no cameras can really capture that properly, because you've got a lot with this, even like, say, if you're using a phone or like a webcam, it has like the auto balancing of brightness, color correction, everything like that. So for you as the lighting designer to really appreciate the products and get to know the products, you want to be able to inspect the light quality. You want to be able to feel the product in your hands. As much as you can see, like, if you held a pen next to a fixture and have a size reference, it doesn't really keep that impact of you having it in front of you. And especially then with RCL products as well, we have, most of our stuff isn't really about much of the aesthetic of the product. we always design to make it clean and simple and like very unobtrusive design. But the key selling points of it is the technology and the motorization and all the nuances like that. Quite difficult to do that remotely. So
yeah.
So what we
I thought so.
Yeah, literally. So we were just looking down and saying, there's all of these different things that we need to try and capture for lighting designers and our clients to be able to get to know our products. And also there's this other thing of, as the pandemic has progressed, a lot of people utilize their time more efficiently. It's not as easy as you can't come and have enough. You can't sell it on the demonstration as easily as when you're in front of someone, because it's way more engaging. So we needed to bring another form of interactivity. So we've got, on one hand, where you've got samples that will be sent to our clients and they can play around with it at home or pick it up from the office. Or you've got the new side of it, where we have created a remote demonstration room where it showcases the tunable white, the variable beam, our control system, and it actually allows the user to be able to control it from their own home.
Right. I think we're going to be looking at that later, aren't we?
Yes.
We look forward to that one. And let me say to everyone watching, we've also got a little bit of a video clip of Chris Forden, our design editor, playing with one of these things at home. So we get that side of it as well. What fun we have. Here's a little bit of Chris.
Which is exactly what you need. There's a lot of gubbins going on in there. I mean, pan, tilt, lens vector for the beam width. So to stick it all in this one can, it was quite an achievement, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a lot bigger, if I'm honest. The base of the product, as shown here, is where you communicate with the device with your handheld controller. So ordinarily, when that's turned on, it flashes yellow, and when you connect with your controller, then it flashes red.
So that was Chris enjoying himself, and quite clearly, he enjoyed the experience of being able to as you say, grab hold of the thing, understand it, up in his own ceiling. Is one of the few people I know who's got track lighting in his kitchen. I'm not sure whether that's a good thing or not, but if it keeps him happy, who am I to complain? So that's what. So I mean, now you're in South London, aren't you?
Yes.
And he's in South London. I get that. I'm not in South London. I'm down in Dorset. So I'm speaking on behalf of all the provincials here. How realistic is that to get a sample out to somebody like me? I will be honest and say I would never just say, send us a fitting down so I can play with it. I would usually say, I've got this project that I think you could be very useful to me. But is that a practical thing to get these things out and around the country?
I mean, to be fair, our sales reps are very happy to travel around to wherever our clients are. So that's a handy thing. But there's also, you've got couriers and things like that we can ship if people obviously are comfortable to give out their home address, because that's another different ball game as well. Navigating people's privacy, because there's like the work-life balance section there. But we do our best to get them to our clients. Okay, all right. So we know that we can now tell you've got an infinite supply of samples, or you've got the one that Chris has got, and the truth is out there somewhere. So that's great. Okay, so the next step then, we can get the fittings to you. I'm also conscious that, and I've always said this, the synergy between the designer and the manufacturer is what makes a project. Yes.
It's not just a case of me being clever and specifying one of your fittings and believing that that's the end of the story. So there still has to be that conversation that's going on between us. I was using Zoom before the pandemic started, so I was familiar with it, but presumably that's been one of the great planks for your guys to be able to get out to more people, probably more people than they've been able to get out to if they're driving up and down the motorway.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with a lot of the Zoom calls as well, our sales representatives will sit there and demonstrate either alongside, if the client's got a product with them, they will then sit and do the same thing in front of them, or they'll give a live demonstration through Zoom as well. So I think in terms of that, it's giving a lot more accessibility in that regard to more people around the world.
I like the around the world business because I feel that we have a product here that has got enormous value to it, but it also comes with a enormous cost-ish, certainly a higher cost than a lot of architects or clients might have been expecting to look at. But I'm thinking that the Zoom interface gets more people around the desk than if it was just me and one of your guys, and we're just looking at it, and then I'm reporting back and saying it's absolutely fantastic, and then they say, you would say that, wouldn't you? But if we can haul them into a call, it gives us a better chance for us to say, you see what this is? Do you understand now why we want to go this way? And I think that's an exciting side of things as well. Have you had to tighten up on documentation, things like data sheets and stuff that we can just haul off the website, or has that always been part of what you offer?
That's always been part of what we offer. We do a lot of research in terms of like talking with our clients a lot. We always ask for feedback. So no one's ever going to be perfect, especially like, we're changing in terms of more information as time goes on is required. So for a while we had to do the changeover with data back in the day when we was changing from halogen to LED.
Yeah.
So then as that was going, we then had to keep going back and updating our data in order to reflect the required data for LED, because it was different to halogen. So we've just been taking that same process constantly. So if there's something missing or something that's, not quite right or whatever, our customers definitely have a relationship with their account managers that they feel comfortable to be able to tell us, saying like, this isn't right, or it would be great if we had this. I think there's always room for improvement in anything that anyone does all the time, but in terms of like the website stuff, I would say since there's been more traffic going through the website rather than just going through email chains, for example, because in terms of, like people don't have their work phone, so they not necessarily make as many calls as they would do before. People just go out and, do their thing and look for it on the website. So we're constantly having to improve that and streamline that.
Now you've also been doing videos, haven't you? Demonstration videos. Now, was that a consequence of the pandemic, or was it a consequence of the product itself that needed to have that dynamic presentation that a photograph doesn't give you? I mean, or is this a chicken and egg? Where were you when you started doing the videos?
So I would say really the videos started developing more, especially in terms of the wider range of technology, because if you take social media, for example, which is at the moment, because of the pandemic, is one of the most primary sources for clients to go and judge brands, for example, and for you to get into the channels where they feel comfortable of having access to your brand. And with RCL, it's really difficult, even with the motorization part, just having a photo. It started off originally that we'd have kind of infographic imagery, and the infographic imagery did okay, but you still would get people that, even though it might seem obvious to us, but we're very close to the product, we know the product very well, so we've got a bias at that point, but you'd still get people looking at it and going, what are those arrows for? So you're like, and there's also, if there's a remote on there, they wouldn't clock that it would be motorization. Now that's not them being, you know, being silly or anything like that. That's on our part not communicating properly.
Sure, yeah.
Because we've got the bias from it. So when it came to the videos, we were sat there and was like, we had a big chat with some of our clients and some of our teams that interact like with the account managers and stuff. We was like, where is it where the penny drops? Because that's the bit you've got to listen for, because it's not about, I think there's a big change in terms of demonstrating products and marketing, especially within the light and design community, where it can't just be flogging something for the sake of flogging something. It's got to be integral to the community or have a reason and a purpose that benefits not just their project, but interesting as well.
Sure.
So when it came to the videos, we were like, right, okay, so the things that we're missing is clearly the motorization part, which is definitely the biggest part of the product. And then you had the things like in static imagery for variable beam, for example, you'd have a narrow and the wide next to it. Now, if you're not paying full attention to it, which you can't expect people to do with adverts and stuff like that, because I know I don't, people go, oh, there's two beam offerings.
Yeah.
So the videos, we started working on them to make them, one, as short as possible, two, as clear as possible. So it's something that would be less tedious for people to watch and get involved with. And the thing is with RCL, it took a while, I think, for us to realize that actually the most sensible thing and easiest thing is just to show it.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because we're going to show a short video.
It's all very well and good, you watching me control it, who's been controlling it for over a year now. Wouldn't it be nice if you could control it? So our engineering team have dedicated an entire space so that you can have a play with it virtually as well. In one of our meeting rooms, we've set up 2 lens vector lights on the ceiling and a virtual version of the RCL control app running on a Mac. So if you're interested in playing with it yourself, seeing how awesome it really is, drop us an email at sales@rclighting.com or give us a call and we'll book you in, get you a time slot, and you can have a play.
So you're right. When you look at the dynamics and when you look at you go, well, that's so simple. But if you hadn't seen it, you'd still be going, they do a narrow beam and they do a wide beam.
Yeah.
So there we have it, and that's an excellent example. And I love the idea, you know, the principle that you're working on there, that this is about engaging with the intellectual basis of the work. This is not just choosing a fixture. This is understanding what that fixture is going to be able to do for you, and just being able to go, let me just show you the paces. Let me just explain, just describe to you what this thing will do, what a difference it makes. Right. So I'm kind of on tenterhooks now, because I'm going to be able to play with the light fitting, which is 1 million miles away in a galaxy a long way away, or whatever it is, or London. So what do we do now? You're going to show me the ropes that so if I could be any old fool, lighting design fool down here, and I really need to see how this works. Show me how this works, Katey. Right. Okay. We're in the library. Miss Scarlet with a lead pipe. No, wrong again. What happens next? Come on, Katey.
So what we've got here is basically, this is the RCL control iPad-based control system. So this controls all the lights you can imagine within a building, as long as there's Wi-Fi access. It takes you through all of the different scenes that you would have normally on an iPad. So we've got the different zones, which usually are used for, you know, in either areas within a huge ballroom, or you could use it for different floors. So if you had a hotel, you could have like the lobby, the, you know, floor 1, floor 2, etc. And then each of these, we have the the light plans. Now you'll see over here, before we go further into the interface, this side is where we have 2 cameras. Now, these two cameras, you've got one so you can see how the fixtures are going to react to whatever we do using the control system.
Yeah.
And then we've got some fun targets for us to try and light.
Right. I think they're paintings, aren't they? Jolly good. Just
You
yeah, that's working.
might recognise that as the Science Museum in London.
I'll wait till there's a light on it and then I'll tell you, isn't that the Science Museum in London? So that's the bit that I want. So I need to get some angle on this. Hello.
There you go.
Right into the camera. And then if I want to go the other way, I'm guessing where the damn painting is, of course.
There you go.
Hey. Oh, come back. Come back a bit more.
There you go.
And they just drifted off a little bit, so I get a little bit of fine tune. Right, and then if I do this, oh no, that's it. Oh, is that right? Is that the one for the beam width?
No, so the lighting effects or lighting technology is up above. Yes.
Okay, so that's that one.
Yes.
Oh. I think this is so cool. I really, really do. I really do. That was brightness, and that's color temperature. So I can.
It's a slider. So the one thing I'd say that would, because it's an iPad app, it's the haptics of using a finger.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We've also got some scenes you can click on if you want to do that as well.
I do. Yeah. Let's just have a. So am I just clicking where I'm clicking?
Yeah.
Art. Okay. So art lit 1.
Here they go.
This little monkey's going, thank God for that. Who's this idiot on the other end of that wheel? One lights other. Hey.
There he goes.
You talking to me? You talking to me?
I've got to say, when it came to us developing this, it took a long time for us to work out the best way to record the light as a live feed.
Yeah.
Because there's so much with, as I was saying earlier, with the auto balance. We had to do a lot of testing to refine it to be able to see it as it is.
Well, it's yeah, as we've said, and yeah, and as Chris has said, and I'm sure that everybody who's ever played with this has said, this makes life so simple. You know, that my past life of going up and down ladders is sort of flashing before my eyes at the moment. I'm going, how soon before we can have a residential model of this? Because believe it or not, I do have jobs out there where the client cannot get to the lights unless they get some staging in their living room.
Oh.
So this is not just getting up on a set of steps. This is actually having to get some scaffolding out because of some of the crazy architecture that people are getting involved in. You know, we're making houses out of barns these days, and we're looking at sort of 5-6 meter high ceilings. Now, at the moment, I still don't think that they're prepared to invest in this kind of level of expense with their tech. But I've got a suspicion that you guys will at some point go, there's a residential version of this crying to get out. It's a fantastic process, and for all that we get that RCL has got a product there that without this kind of interface, without this kind of marketing support for people like me as a designer, it would be more difficult to get the benefits of the product across to people. But the whole, I say, we come back to this is about marketing in the pandemic and post-pandemic. because we are not assuming that we're going to go back to whatever constituted normal. Please God, no. And other manufacturers will be, I think, will be looking to see what kind of use they can make of computer technology in this kind of way. It will never replace the hands-on. It will never replace just the idea that you get hold of the thing and you can smell it and love it to death. No, we will never get rid of that. But we can get as close as we possibly can. Katey, this has been fantastic. I'd like to thank you ever so much for organising all of this.
No worries.
And
Thank you for having me.
we'll be talking again soon. I'm absolutely sure of that. Thank you very much. And for all of you who've been watching this and watching me and my tomfoolery, wondering just what the hell it is I'm trying to do, thank you very much for your attention. See you all again soon.